off and we don't see an end. Uniting souls with our walking friends. We're coming through creative crew to meet you. Share ideas and people we speak to.
What's happening, everybody? It's K2 from the United Souls crew. Welcome to a double episode of our Rewind series. We had a lot of stuff going on these last couple weeks, some vacations and traveling around, but we are back ready to recap episode 11 and 12. We're going to jump into these episodes and learn a little bit more about some of these really cool spots and people that we met along the way while we were in Vegas. We're here with Cam again to do this little deep dive episode rewind. What's going on, Cam?
I'm good, man. What's good? I'm chilling out here in Cali, man. Having a good day. I'm excited for these episodes, man. I'm excited. Let's check it out.
Yeah, man, jumping right back into the cut. We're starting off with episode 11, and we're going to go right into episode 12. We're still in Vegas in episode 11, but this is a great one because we kind of really get involved and go through Vegas. We get taken around by a couple of our friends, our friend Jevin, friend Kyle. I don't know if you want to give a little shout out to Jevin, let us know what he's been up to, because that was super cool. KCEP 88.1, kind of our first radio spot that we did when we got to Vegas to kind of spread the word about where we're going to be. And that was one of your old friends. And why don't you give us a little bit more background to how that came about, that radio spot, and what Jevin's been up to?
Man, that was so amazing, man. Jevin is like just one of the coolest cats, man. He was always the homie. Back in the high school days, you know what I mean? We was always doing music, like throw your head. He was a DJ, in high school. He was always the DJ for every event that we did. And just character, man, super funny, comedian. And man, to this day, man, he's still doing his thing, man. Back at that time, me and Jonathan, went to high school with him. And so we were like really proud of him at that time because he was on radio and we just knew where he came from. But at this day, man, I mean, he's still just a major inspiration as just a man, a father, all of that stuff, man. Him and his whole family, they're still acting. They're all in commercials, national commercials all the time, man. It's great, man. But yeah, he's still a DJ. He's still rocking parties. He can still perform. And I see him online all the time doing skits and stuff on his TikTok and stuff with his family, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was cool being able to do our first radio spot. We got to share the word a little bit, tell about some of the spots we were going to be appearing in Las Vegas. And yeah, what was some of the other favorite things that we got into in Vegas once we met Jono's friend Kyle, that kind of took us a little bit more in depth around in some of the underground spots, some really cool artisan, locations that he's working with?
Yeah, well, we all met doing TV production stuff back in the day. That's how me and you met. And Jonathan, we were working on TV shows and things like that. And so he met Kyle actually doing production on another event as well. And so that's how we met up with Kyle. And I didn't really put two and two together at the time of the angle that Kyle was really working for us. He was really trying to help us, get a show on maybe some network for us, documenting our walk and stuff like that. Because when he took us over to the guys over at the ATM Acrylic, I didn't know that those are the guys that, later on are going to have this show making the fish tanks for all these superstars and stuff like that. The guy that was giving us the tour, never forget when I saw the show come on, I was like, hey, that's the guy that gave us the time. We met that guy on the walk.
We are the #1 aquarium builder in the world. If they can dream it, we can build it. Let's get it off the trailer and let's turn this into an aquarium. It's chaos. Well, I always had a love for fish and aquariums. Good boy.
New series premieres Friday, August 19th at 9, only on Animal Planet.
Yeah, Brett and Wade, from that show Tanked on Animal Planet. A whole bunch of seasons. In each show, they have some kind of crazy challenge where they're kind of building a custom tank for someone, and it's always, all kinds of issues and problems they're trying to solve, and some kind of really cool theme. But yeah, we got to see some that one tank in the back that we went to, where it was like in the middle of a guy's house, where like the living room was on the one side and the bedroom was on another side. I mean, that was pretty incredible. Some of that acrylic was like almost 10 inches thick, the sheets that were like lying on the shelves when we went through the display room and the manufacturing area. That was pretty dope, man.
Yeah, man. And then right behind them was where they were doing the embroidery. They had the embroidery company, and that's where they were making the shirts, and we got some of our shirts printed. But just all in that little vicinity right there, man. It was really cool how Kyle took us through there. He knew all these folks, and like I could see him saying, like, these guys are about to have a show. You need to get with these guys. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, yeah.
As in hindsight, that's what I feel like. Oh, maybe that's what you do something.
But yeah, that was so cool, man. All the guys, like you said, at Checkmate Embroidery. What was his name? Dennis over at Checkmate Embroidery. It was Dennis and Brett that kind of owned that company, and yeah, totally hooked us up with a whole bunch of shirts that with the walk, that one painting that I did, embroidered that on with our website. Just hooked us up, so we were able to go and take those out on the road with us. It was cool seeing artwork go from one form of a painting and then go into the embroidery process. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, man. And then going to the glass blowing place, like just seeing all these different forms of art, like you're saying. And when the guy was asking us at the DJ, at the radio interview, what's the point? We were trying to. That was like the beginnings. We had articulated what we were trying to do, basically going out to express ourselves and let people know that they didn't have to go in one area or another just to make it, that they can make it in the middle of the desert walking across the country like we were doing. And it was like, it took a while for us to really get that articulated the right way. But that was one of the good, first times we were able to say, at least for me, you kind of really had it all the way dialed in. So it was really good. And when you took the reins on the mic that day, I was like, thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, no, it was funny when the guy was like, "Oh, you were out in the desert. Would you do a show for a desert or a turtle and a lizard or something like that?"
I was like, "Yep, and a dog, and a dog."
And
I
a
was
dog.
right, there with you, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, it's still that same. I think that same message that we've all been carrying, and just trying to inspire one another, and just that was one of those things in Vegas, being able to meet a whole bunch of other people, just hustling, trying to make their dreams come true. Like you said, with the glass blowing, he had some amazing lamps that he was making, that he was trying to like develop new things, take glass to the next level. Same thing with the ATM Acrylic guys. They're trying to grow their business, and obviously they completely blew up and were able to get it out onto a network and really expose themselves to a whole, I would imagine worldwide, global scale of what they're doing. Yeah, and there are some like I'll have to put up a link. If you go right here, you can check out a little bit more of the Checkmate Embroidery video. We made a video back in the day, and we got it up on YouTube, so we'll put a link up to that. Yeah, and then that brings us to the end of episode 11, where we meet Larry, a really interesting character that we met at the Las Vegas swap meet, who, believe it or not, his younger brother was a Chris Farley impersonator. It's hard to imagine that guy having a relative that looked exactly like Chris Farley, but he was like a famous Vegas Chris Farley impersonator. And just really interesting character. He was kind of one of the caretakers at the Vegas swap meet that we met, and like worked there on the grounds, and immediately just kind of was all about going with us. So yeah, it was funny. We kind of leave it with a cliffhanger, but then you'll notice as we move into episode 12, yeah, Larry's nowhere to be found. He didn't make it into the next episode. We did have breakfast with him the next morning. He took us out to breakfast, and then he kind of gave us like, "Hey, I'll be right back. I just got to go get a couple things." And then we never heard from him again. I mean, we waited for a couple hours, and then we were like, all right, well, it's time to go. He knows where we're going. If he wants to meet up with us, he can get dropped off within the next few days and kind of meet up with us. But, I don't know. We were pretty open for people to join the walk. You know, this was kind of like one of the, I don't know, was this one of the first people that was just like, hey, I want to join, and we're like, okay, I guess. You know, I think it might have been.
I think so. I mean, because before that, I mean, it was no one. No one
Yeah.
that was that serious. He was really on the edge. He was serious,
Yeah.
like the way he was talking. He asked it a couple of
Yeah.
times, like, "You invited me, right?" like yeah,
I
man.
just got to be clear. You
Um,
have
but
invited
I
me.
think I
You
don't
are
know how serious we were either. We weren't really sure. We were kind of like, "Yeah, you can come, I guess," but
Yeah.
we were definitely open for it because eventually, we did have people come, but a few, a few folks. And I sometimes I sit back and I remember some of the folks. Like, I know we're not there yet. We got a long way to go until we get to James and what's his name, James.
James and Ash and
Those two guys, and then Kolea and Trey. But
yeah.
James and Ash, those two guys. That was more of the like, hey, we just picked this guy up, man. Like, hey,
Yeah.
you're with us now.
Yeah, musician on the street busking in Denver, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's just start." And he just started walking with us. Yeah, some really cool experiences and characters coming up as we kind of move a little bit further. But yeah, Larry was kind of the first possible walker that we were open to the possibility of it. We were like, I guess, yeah, if you want to try to make this happen. But yeah, he didn't show up, so we ended up kept it moving. But yeah, so that brings us right into episode 12. We'll just kind of roll it right into it. We're basically now transitioning from kind of Vegas life for the month, which was pretty nice. That was, we had some hotels, we had families to stay with, we had some buffet car or tickets and coupons to eat well, and we got some jobs. We helped Kyle's mom out. We built a fence. I'm gonna put some clips of that right here. I do have a couple clips that didn't make it into the episodes, but we did stuff like this. We were doing some fence installation of our little working jobs.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's good. Thank you. Do you mind being on camera? Do you mind being on camera? Yeah. We're documenting.
This is Helen's house. We're doing the fence right here.
Say hello.
Thank you, Helen.
This is Kyle's beautiful mother. She's kind enough to let her work on her home.
Last little cleanup of a fence now installed. And yeah, we would just try to find things that help out, because Kyle was so good to us in town. So we'd always say, hey, what can we do for you? Whether it's mowing your grass or fixing a fence or whatever we could do while we're around and have some manpower. So that was really cool to be able to give back and help Kyle and his mom out. We kind of roll right into episode 12, and like we were saying, now we are basically back into the desert. Were you ready for the desert? Coming out of Vegas, coming out of air-conditioned hotel rooms, and being nice and comfy, and being back out in our tents and walking along the side
I
of the
think
roads.
so, man. I was ready for it. I mean, I've been to Vegas a lot, so and we were there for quite a while, so I was ready to go. It was like, all right, let's move on. Yeah, the getting back on the road was fun. The whole thing was always an adventure because we were always up in the air, so it always felt good to be on. Always had that sense of adventure, even when we were in a town, a city, something like that. But yeah, once we started to move, it was cool because I started going into areas I'd never been before. I'd never been to Lake Mead. Been to Vegas a zillion times, but never been that way, and I'd never seen the Hoover Dam either. So we got to walk across that, and I mean that was amazing, man. That was really cool to see, and we were all together.
We basically ended up at the Grand Canyon Caverns in the middle of this episode, right in time for the end of a rodeo. They were basically rounding everybody up, and but this was another place where we did kind of like a work exchange where we helped them weed whack some of the trails and work on the ranch a little bit. Jono, and I think Cam, were you in the kitchen too, where you guys were helping out in the restaurant area, and or maybe that that was just Jono and me and you were out in the trails.
Yeah. We did the trails. I didn't help in the kitchen. Or no, I did. I did help in the kitchen a little bit, just a little bit. But
Yeah.
we did the
But yeah,
trails, and that was really fun. That was fun. We had a different video where we were dancing around and stuff like that. We didn't have a lot of footage really covering what we did in that time at the Grand Canyon Caverns. Like it brushed over a little bit, but like that was a very interesting experience because I'd never heard of that place. And that place is in the middle of it's in the middle of a long stretch of road where there's about 50 miles this way of nothing, 50 miles this way of nothing. Maybe not 50, but it's in the middle of like nothing, just
yeah.
about. And it's a whole thing within itself. And that elevator we got in to go down underground. How far underground? It's like 3 stories or so.
Yeah, it was like 220 feet down, so it was quite a trip down. Yeah.
Man, that's a scary little idea of what's down there. What could really be down there? What kind of buried bones and buried treasure?
Yeah, I mean, there was. I don't think we really got a picture of it in the thing, but there was like a giant prehistoric sloth that was down there that had fallen down the hole. There was like a mummified bobcat down there. The interesting thing is that the caverns that we were in, like the biggest cavern was like I think maybe a couple football fields in size, like, and it was a huge, big open space that we were in, and they were telling us that they had just used like sonar equipment and found out that this huge cavern was actually the top of like a Christmas tree structure, and there was just different levels that went down, and they got bigger and bigger as they went down. But this 2, 3 football field size cavern was the smallest one on top, and they just kept going down, getting bigger and bigger as they went down. They think they found maybe 5 or 6 that went down, and they said like the 4th one down had water going through it, or even possibly lava or something. They weren't quite sure, but they could see liquid moving through the area. But yeah, there's the whole one section in this big one where there was back in the JFK days, and there was like the missile crisis and bunkers where there was just whole caches of water and food rations, the big barrels of water. Do you remember that down there? There was like a whole like survival setup down there that was all just down there from like 50 years or so that just been sitting there.
Yeah, keeping in the same temperature. The temperature never changes, so they're able to store stuff down there. And
Yeah.
that whole place, though, the Grand Canyon Caverns, that was like kind of our introduction also to like being on Native American land.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess as we were walking through, no, that was it. Like even in through California desert, there's not a lot of Native American land that we walked through. So this was the first time we had walked in, and we were like to have a supai
Yep.
land, and we were trying to go into the land because people were telling us about this waterfall and this amazing
Yeah.
atmosphere that was there, but we didn't make it. So we were being a
Yeah.
little weary, but that was the first time literally at that place we got there. There was cowboys and Native Americans, cowboys and Indians. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're like in the same spot. We were at that bar, that one place at the bar.
Yeah, I wonder how that place is still doing, if it's still rocking or if it still has, taken not too far off from the very beginnings of that story where the guy was just lowering people down in a bucket with a lantern for a nickel. I mean, you're basically in the corner of a restaurant and there's just an elevator shaft, and you just give a token and you go straight to takes you down. Some guy will take you down there. But yeah, it was a really nice setup, and they had it really nice. Yeah, let's see here. So yeah, so it was a lot of fun at the Grand Canyon Caverns. This was kind of the best of all worlds. We were able to stay there. We were able to work there, make a couple dollars. This was like our first paid gig. I think we got paid to do a little music show, which was like super cool. Share with like you were saying, with a room full of cowboys and Indians. some United Souls music, a little mixture of everything, some hip hop and R&B and spoken word and some folk, and had a little bit of everything. And everybody was like, pretty receptive to us, and we had a great time. And as kind of our first show that we got to do, so Grand Canyon Caverns was like a nice spot to be able to, for getting back started, getting back out in the desert, having our first little space to kind of, perform and make some more money, because we were constantly trying to find ways to fundraise and keep the adventure rolling. So any spots where we could talk and meet with people, that always meant, more resources to continue the adventure, basically, and then you can kind of see, me and Jordan getting geared up, heading off towards what is our next stop, basically Flagstaff, Arizona, where we kind of then take a trip down to Sedona and then go up into the Grand Canyon. So we're kind of gearing up for like some monsoon weather. Cam was up ahead. He kind of let us know that, hey, the monsoon is coming, torrential downpours. So me and Jordan got all geared up and, headed into basically our first scenes of some greenery as well. We had been out in like deserts and red and orange, which were perfect for the colors we were walking through. But, it was nice to start getting back into some evergreens and woods before we kind of go back into the deserts again once we get to Four Corners in Utah. But there was a nice lush, forest area through Arizona as well.
Flagstaff really amazed me with that, because Arizona, I've never been to Flagstaff. In Arizona, I've always known as a desert, type of place. And
Yeah.
once we started to approach that and started to see all these really tall just trees, like really tall, I don't know if those are pine trees or what they were, but
Yeah.
just greenery. Because then when we did go down to Sedona, it goes back to the desert. So Sedona is very
Yeah.
desert. There's a lot of really nice rock formations and things like that. They had some greenery a little bit, but
Yeah.
just the foresty nature of Flagstaff was really really cool to me, man. Because
Yeah, that was a great vibe. And they had like, tubing and like, hot springs. It had a little bit of everything. It was a really cool hip town. We met a bunch of really cool college kids and had another places to stay and all that kind of stuff. Once we get into, had another, I think probably our next official walker too that we'll meet that jumped on board was from Flagstaff. So we'll get into all of that stuff that actually jumped on, not like Larry, who was just a talker and not a walker. We did finally meet a talker and a walker, so that was really cool. But we'll get into all that coming up. So this was a great little catch up for the last couple episodes. We've got a lot of great stuff coming up. So that's it for our episode rewind for 11 and 12. Thank you, Cam, for jumping on and going on this deep dive adventure with us, going back through all the footage and reliving this walk step by step. It's awesome, like you said, man, to kind of go back through this stuff. I'm inspired every time we watch this kind of stuff, and excited that we get to share it with it and talk to people about it. So it's really cool. I'm going to be doing next weekend an opening like art show at a gallery, and I'm going to be playing footage of the walk on the wall and have the paintings up, kind of also be promoting the series playing now with the rewind episodes and stuff at a new art center that just opened up, and they asked us to do an art show over there, and I was like, oh, that'd be a perfect place to share more video footage and play some music and do that kind of stuff. So looking forward to that on July 2nd. We're going to be showcasing that and sharing it. But it's been so great going back all through this, and I appreciate you, Cam, man, jumping on and traveling along with us.
definitely, I appreciate you too, man. I thank you for everybody that's watching out there, and let's keep on walking.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and hopefully, maybe eventually we can do some live streams if people have some questions and want to interact with us as we're doing these rewinds. You know, we're working our ways to that, as well as some special. We're gonna try to do a little Grand Canyon special in VR, some clips in that. So keep a lookout for that in a couple weeks when we get to the Grand Canyon. If anybody has Oculus VR and you have the program Wander, you can meet up with us in there and we'll take you down the South Kaibab Trail. And I promise you it'll be a lot easier than when we went down there, being in VR and stuff like that. So that'll be cool. But yeah, as always, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to our videos. You can check out all of our pictures on Instagram. We're uploading the pictures of our walk collection of photos week by week as we kind of share the different videos and things like that. So we just want to remind everybody to stay inspired, keep on walking. It's all about putting one foot in front of the other. You're going to get there in the end. We really hope that this walk is inspiring you as much as it continues to inspire us. We'll see everybody next week. Peace.